I don't know if you're privy to this particular this particular conspiracy, but Red Hat and Canonical are working together.
That's not really
no
news.
No. Deep down, man, deep down. Have you heard the news about the CentOS mascot?
No.
I'm going to give you 600 guesses as to what it might be. And here's your hint. It's a very recent Canonical mascot.
Is it a puffin?
Next one.
Questing, because everything says questing.
Oh, got it. But what is the manimal?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Q.
It's a quokka. Is it? I don't know how you say it, but is it a quokka or
quokka?
Quokka?
I don't know. How do you say that? The little smiley rodent-looking thing.
Listen, I put my corn chips in a bunch of guacamole. Yeah, like the O is in body. Quokka. Yeah, the in about. Quokka. Cool. So, quokka.
Yeah.
Just so happens to also now recently have been announced maybe about a week ago that it is now the official CentOS mascot now too. What's going on, Dan?
Okay.
What's the scoop? What's the spill the tea? What is it that you and this clandestine group over at CentOS, what are y'all doing? What's happening? We're supposed to have warring factions, okay? We can't have Canonical
that's not really true. But
buddying up with Red Hat people. No. You're on opposite sides of a wall. You need to have your spears up. Eyes open, spears up.
All right, so here's the reality. We don't do that. No,
Okay.
We actually collaborate on a lot of things. I could say.
Guess.
At least based on my experience.
I guess.
But I didn't know that we were sharing mascots for anything. That's a little... That might be a line too far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got their spears up. CentOS put their spears up when they stole it. Stole your mascot.
We released ours first, I feel.
Yeah, well, they said they had been working on it since February or something, or like prior to that.
Uh-huh.
Just saying.
They might have been working on it, but they didn't say anything, so.
Eyes open, spears up. Get on the hate train. Come on.
Listen, they actually announced that one before the release of the Plucky Puffin.
Really?
Let's see. Yeah, at least internally.
Here you go.
It was like days, maybe, but
okay. Well, how about years? CentOS said, in fact, the quokka has been mentioned as long ago as the September 2022 board meeting and probably earlier. They put the probably earlier in there. CentOS will always have that probably earlier to fall back on. Well, it probably could have been 1998. It was probably earlier.
Maybe it was 1991, when Linux was first announced.
That's right. Whatever you're going to say, probably earlier.
Coming up in this episode, AIs won't take over yet. Is Rust open source? And all kinds of feedback. Hello and welcome to Linux User Space. I'm Dan.
And I'm Leo. And Dan, AI might take over the world one day, but today is not that day.
Today is definitely not that day, and I don't know, shame on people for thinking that, but, thinking today is the day, because it's just way too soon.
Well, I don't know, there's a lot of hype
we've
people.
Got years, I think we're years away from it.
Years?
Yeah, at best. Decades, maybe even.
Well, I don't know. I'm scared of the one breakthrough that we haven't had yet, right? Like there's going to be something crazy that happens, and I don't know. It may be 7 breakthroughs from now, but
that's true.
I'm afraid that one breakthrough will accelerate the next and the next and the next, and it just becomes kind of a domino thing where all I want I don't need them to take over. I'll be nice to them, right? During the robot revolution, hopefully I'm one of the last. But I just want Rosie from the Jetsons, right? I need someone to help me do my laundry and stuff because that is annoying and boring. I don't want that.
Yeah, laundry, dishes, all those things. Maybe even just, walk the dog and, put the kids on the bus, that sort of stuff. I mean, I think those are helpful things.
See, it would give me time to walk the dog, though, and then that would just be super beneficial for me and for the dog. And, that's the whole point, right? Is to let the AI and robots do the stuff that you don't want to do so you have time to do the things that you do want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's your jam, I mean, I'm thinking just sit on the bench in the park, watch the geese fly or something.
See,
would be cool.
That would also be cool. I'm in it. I'm ready for that. That's what I want. But writing bug reports, it's not ready for prime time just yet.
Or maybe even just bug fixes and do pull requests and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not ready for that either.
But it doesn't stop people from actually trying. So
it seems like, yeah.
If you are familiar, and you are, if you've ever piped anything to bash from the internet, you are likely familiar with curl. Curl is one of these things that is just like an internet command line Swiss Army knife that does anything. That will grab anything, do anything on the internet for you automatically, well, with the right switches and whatnot.
It's basically a web browser that in a command.
That's right. So it does all kinds of stuff for all kinds of people, even if you don't even know that you're using it in a script that you're running. So curl is pretty integral to the way that Linux and the internet kind of work. So Daniel Stenberg of the project, though, was none too happy.
Understandable.
To look into one of these bug reports and realize that it wasn't exactly what it seemed. So over on LinkedIn, he wrote, "That's it. I've had it. I'm putting my foot down on this craziness. Every reporter submitting security reports on HackerOne for curl now needs to answer this question. Did you use an AI to find the problem or generate the submission? And if they do select it, they can expect a stream of proof of actual intelligence follow-up questions. We now ban every reporter instantly who submits reports we deem AI slop. A threshold has been reached, and we are effectively being DDoSed. If we could, we would charge them for this waste of our time. We still have not seen a single valid security report done with AI help." Ooh.
I mean, that's a bold statement, but I can understand, right? You've had enough spam, basically, and waste of time, because this is one of those places that you expect to be high quality reporting, because it's basically security vulnerabilities that need to be addressed. I mean, HackerOne curates that. For you. It's not just a GitHub, issue or something like that. This is intended for serious things that need to be solved in a timely fashion.
HackerOne is that middleman, right? That takes developer money to pay bounty hunters,
bug bounties,
to fix things, right? And so they facilitate that flow of money. So as you said, you would expect the quality of the bug reports, of the security issues, those types of things, you would expect that to be high quality.
Correct.
Except we now know it's not.
This is not that. No.
Ow.
Yeah, it stinks. I feel bad that's that's going on for them, and they're spinning their wheels on it, because, like I said, this is where they want to prioritize their efforts, is the security vulnerability thing.
Right. Yeah, with it reaching out to the internet, you kind of want it to be secure. It does a lot of things for you.
And so, in some regard, I guess curl and other projects, they've enlisted the trust of HackerOne to kind of curate some of that for them.
Right.
So, I mean, in some regard, it's a nice platform for that to happen, I guess. Convenient.
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
will.
yeah, it's convenient because people get paid, and like
Right.
I think that's quite nice. So this
Mhm.
particular exploit, well, purported exploit,
Yeah.
was a vulnerability in the HTTP3 stream dependency. So this
Yeah.
one was going to be classified high.
Mhm.
So that would have given a reward of $4,660 had it turned
That's a
out to be
but
replicable
yeah,
and patchable, right?
that's not insignificant.
No, definitely not. But it but it turns out after a little poking and prodding from Jim Fuller and from Daniel Stenberg. So Daniel ended up coming back and saying about a line referencing NGTCP2 and NGHTTP3 functions that were supposedly supposed to be in the code
Yeah.
weren't.
They
So-
don't exist.
Yeah, it turns out that the code that this particular report was about didn't actually exist. It was made up. And Dan, you said
That's-
hallucinated. I take issue with the
Yeah,
word because
I know you do.
because it's too human of a word, but it's a good people know what I'm saying when
Mhm.
and know what we're saying when we say it was hallucinated.
Yeah, it was materialized out of thin air. Hmm.
Right. And so that led Daniel Stenberg to call this and kind of stamp that word AI slop onto it.
Yeah, it's an egregious thing, and I can understand why he did that. Yeah.
Right. And you dig into this person's history of submission at HackerOne, and
Yeah.
they have accepted reports.
Yeah. They do.
They've been
And
paid before.
they have, and I hope that those other things were not this. Maybe this was an experiment or something where they tried to use AI to help them. But I mean, I question now. I mean, because I didn't go back through and look at all of the reports that were there. But this person, yeah, they've got some things that have been accepted and whatnot. And I wonder what the quality on those were. And I hope that it was not as crummy as this was.
Well, I mean, it's just a string of reports that generated a good chunk of change.
Mhm.
But you know, and as you said, like I do kind of wonder, like how much of that stuff was actually AI, and is that really a decent stream of income? Is AI that good that you can submit these types of AI generated bug reports or AI assisted bug reports and hit the target? You know, 30% of the time, 40% of the time, what would it matter if you are hitting the target sometimes?
I mean, I guess, or the baseball scores here. I mean, your batting average of 300 is pretty good, right?
Exactly. And that's the kind of thing. But on the flip side of that, right? Like you have to set aside the rejected reports and the time wasted realizing as Daniel
That
Stenberg
means
did, realizing that it was
70% were bogus.
yeah, that were AI slop, as he said, and just a waste of time. Is it worth it? Is it worth it when it does hit the target?
I feel like it's not worth it for the projects that are on the receiving end of that have to chase around all the bogus stuff.
Well, set that aside for just a sec, and look at it from he got paid, so
I know.
There were confirmed reports,
Hopefully,
that were patched. I mean, someone on the developer side had to look at that, had to say, yeah, that's a real one. And then
I mean, it's presuming it got incorporated, and they just didn't just pay them for their report, I suppose.
Right. So if AI, let's and I'm kind of assuming that all of these are AI generated, right? But let's look at that. Is batting 300, which is not unheard of in baseball, right?
Right.
If batting 300, getting 30% of your stuff right, is that good enough?
Well, do we need a person to use AI to report that, or could we just run that stuff through AI and be done with it?
But then you would have to spend the
The
time.
project would do it, right? I mean, but like then, I mean, I guess that's why you have test suites and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully that brings some of your bugs out for you.
Yeah.
Right. And there's different testing tools that have been developed along the way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you use those things. Plus, you have actual people, hopefully.
Yeah, but I would assume Acronis and Adobe and Starbucks, some of the names that show up on this list of bounties that were paid out, that they do that, right? They do use the automated testing suites to get the low hanging fruit. So these are reports that are referencing more difficult to find types of bugs. So let me ask you this then. Let's zoom out a little bit and get away from AI in general and look at the general idea of fuzzing. That is also a very large number of security reports, and fuzzing is by definition throwing junk at it. Randomized trash to see if you get some kind of, buffer overflow, or see if you can get a crash of some kind of denial of service or whatever. You just want the software to behave in an unpredictable way. And when it does that, boom, you found a bug. Is fuzzing is going that far, and not AI, but just throwing junk at it. Is that we've deemed that as legitimate. That is now part of testing suites, and it's very easy to set up a fuzzer and just point your laser and see if the thing explodes.
Right.
So is
this another form of fuzzing?
Right. I would put it in the same kind of category of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Yeah.
So I think it's a much wider conversation about, I think, just automated stuff. And I think it's just particularly egregious here because you can use AI to then turn around and get paid. And I'm sure
I don't like that it's making up stuff, though. I mean, that's just
right.
Like, it needs to be a lot more accurate, I feel like, if we're going to accept this as a solution to find these things. It's got to get a ton better. I feel like 30% is not good enough for me. I know that's great in baseball, and it's fine for maybe the weather forecast or something, but it needs to be better.
30% chance of AI failures.
Like I want to see that number up at 90% or something. I feel like before we're going to start accepting it in the workflow of security vulnerabilities in particular. I want that to be accurate. I don't I don't want inaccuracies there. No.
Yeah, because think about that, right? Like, as far as Daniel Stenberg and his team is concerned, every report is a real one. So that means that you have to spend...
It's like calling 911.
Yes.
You better have a fire. I mean, or, someone, needs medical attention or something.
Right.
You want it to be legit. You don't want it to be, some bogus thing like my mail didn't get delivered today or something. You know what I mean? I mean, it needs to be a real problem, real legit emergency.
Because I think you can kind of compare this to like AI scanning a street inside the windows, and there's one of those little battery powered fake candles, and it was burning, and AI blew that up into, oh God, the house is burning, call 911, and 911's called. They show up, and it's like, that was a battery-powered tea light. That's not a real fire.
That's not a real fire. Or, someone turned on their gas stove and, there was an open flame, but I mean, it's intended to be that way.
Well, I think that's even better than this. That's better than the report in question, because that's actual real fire,
It is, but I mean, it was controlled. It was a controlled environment. We're okay.
Yeah. Well, this AI made up entire chunks of code.
That's not good.
And reported on it. And unfortunately, it took at least two. They were the only ones that responded on the curl team, but I suppose more than 4 eyes were looking at this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and so it's just a big...
Well, now the internet's talking about it, so...
Well, yeah, we are the internet.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a humongous waste of time.
Yeah.
And
don't like
so
it.
I don't know. I like your 90%. I would say AI is bad, so I'll give it 60. If you can get
Oh, okay.
60% accuracy out of it, then it would probably be worth your time to go down all those rabbit trails, all those rabbit holes to try and figure out. If it's more correct than it's wrong, then I think we're in good waters. We're in this a good point, but there's still going to be a lot of wasted time, a lot of wasted human effort.
I guess the other thing that I don't like is I don't like where it's being applied. I feel like if it was just a regular bug report type of thing, like a regular issue, all right, maybe I'll chase a little more on some weirdness. I mean, because you get a lot of those anyway, even with the human reporters on some things.
Yeah.
And so an acceptable level of accurateness is lower, than a security vulnerability. That's to me top priority. We're putting all the effort into it.
Right.
And it needs to be something pretty legit, or at least I hope it is.
That's the hope. Yep. And I also hope that people aren't just checking I didn't use AI for this box for a curl before submitting stuff. I hope they're honest about that too. But I suppose you can block people. Once you figure out
once you figure out they're not doing the right thing,
you just block them forever, I guess.
You're out, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, no matter how much we try, and no matter how much we whine about it on this show, AI is going to continue being part of our lives, and I'm going to continue to complain about it.
Yeah, I'm going to find some problems with it, that's for sure.
Man, there are legitimate ways that AI can be used to...
There's some helpful things it can do, but this is not one of them.
This is not one of them, so I'm going to keep calling them like I see them. This is not a good one. You're probably watching this one on YouTube, but if you're listening or if you're watching with your ears, then I guess you're not. But then if you're watching with your ears, that means that you could also watch this with your eyes on YouTube. So if you prefer the video style, then go check it out over there. The entire show, if you're watching with your ears, then you get the entire show. But if you don't find yourself able to sit and listen to the whole entire thing, maybe not in one go, but you just kind of forget about it, you can always stick us on YouTube, and each of the segments that we put out come out on YouTube by themselves. So they're smaller, they're bite-sized, they're easier to digest in one go. And anything that we do educational-wise, which coming up next episode, we've got our flat pack snap, not history, but deep dive. We did the histories already of those.
Analysis. We'll call it analysis.
An analysis will show up over on Tilvid. So we've still got educational stuff coming out over there. That is in the works. If you listen to the entire show, or if you're on YouTube watching this in a single segment, then you have to watch the entire episode. I don't put that part out individually. So go to the full episode and then click on the next timestamp. Yeah,
there's channel markers, if you will.
Yep.
Click on that.
And we're going to tell you all about what we're going to do this next time, about what we're going to install, how we're going to do it. We have some tidbits in there. This is why you want to do it. We have some tidbits in there right now that can help you figure out how big your Snap store actually is, how big your flat pack stuff actually is, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how to keep monitoring that. What's going to be...
Yeah, or at least what we're doing. Yeah.
What all that's going to end up like here in a little bit. And we've got some recursion that's going to have to happen to get a real good idea of how those things are going to change. So anyway, all the educational bits on Tilvids, go check it out over there. That's what you'll find there. And if you like these journeys, if you like us, if you like the content that we put out, and all of the above, go send us a buck over on patreon.com/LinuxUserspace. And you don't actually have to send any money to follow us over there. That's episode comes out over there. So if you just want a single place to kind of watch what's happening, patreon.com/LinuxUserspace is a place to do that. But you can also send us a buck, right? So the dollar gets you
Dollar bills, y'all.
That's right. So $1 will get you Lemmy access.
Yeah.
$3 will get you early access to the episode. $5 will get you the whole show, the show before the show after the show, and the show itself, audio version. And then $10 will do the same thing, but in video. And there's a bunch of other stuff that you get in some of those tiers.
Yeah.
So go check that out. We don't charge you money for nothing. We give you some stuff in return.
We really do appreciate your support. So if you can, we'll make sure to return some of that support that you give us in the form of,
stuff,
some bonuses. So Edtrob, I might be saying that wrong, but the username EDTROB over on YouTube has posted on our last episode. I think it was our last episode, or maybe it was one before. I'm not sure.
It was two before, and it was specifically on the Rust is coming for Linux, Linux segment.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, so we talked about how the Rust drivers and whatnot are being more accepted, if you will, into the Linux kernel. So, and the whole drama behind all that. So this was the comment based on that episode. 3 issues, he says. The first is Rust licensing. If the kernel is written in Rust, it's no longer open source.
So we may or may not get to the other 2 issues, but this is something that
this one we really want to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about it in the pre-show, and it just continued to spark and spark and spark just additional conversation about what the heck is licensed and what isn't licensed. Now, I'm not a lawyer.
Sure.
And last time I checked, Dan hasn't passed the bar yet. But
I'm very formally dressed here, but not a lawyer.
You're spruced up, ready for court. But so neither of us are lawyers. But I think there's a conversation to be had here, right? So initially, I had responded back, Rust is Apache MIT, so certainly open source, but maybe not quite the definition of FOSS unless I'm misreading you. But as Dan and I started to talk about this, I think that line was irrelevant.
So we did some research, and I found a Stack Overflow. I know it's not
all the real answers are on Stack Overflow.
But it made a lot of sense to me, and I'll link that. But some of them might not be open standards, per se. You could have a language that is private and used by you or your company, and only you and your company. But that also means that nobody else is going to be able to write stuff in your language because they don't know it. It's not an open standard.
Right.
And it means, so like no plugins, add-ons, modules, none of that stuff is going to happen if you've got your own language.
Could you imagine bespoke languages?
I think they exist, but I don't know what they are. I don't have examples.
Internal only? Like you have to take an oath before they teach you the language? I promise to never...
you probably got an NDA that you got to sign and whatnot.
Yeah.
No, probably. Like if you were hired on by a company and said, hey, here's our thing. By the way, you can't, distribute this at all.
Whoa. Okay.
I guess that sort of thing happens, right?
I guess so. It would definitely be, it would be a spinoff of JavaScript. It just has to be, man. Look at all the languages out there. They're all weird JavaScript morphs of some kind or another.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I don't know.
But also this is kind of taking the bait a little bit, right? Because the original comment was if the kernel is written in Rust, and well, I don't think we're even a decade.
Yeah, we're not talking about that much anyway, because like we're just talking about some drivers and stuff. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Attachments, add-ons, things that enable things. Written in Rust attached to the generally written in C kernel, right? But maybe one day.
Maybe, but I think if you were to start now, you'd be a while before you got the whole thing written,
Right. And, but it just kind of brought up like a bigger question because wouldn't C have the same kind of Achilles heel if that were the case, right? And it turns out it can't, because if you look at it, then the Linux kernel would then have to have inherited whatever kind of license or any kind of anything that surrounds C.
Yeah.
And then the Linux kernel would have that, but it's not. We checked. The Linux kernel is all GPL2, and things that aren't GPL2 are compatible with the GPL2. And I have a sneaking suspicion C is not GPL2, and Rust is not GPL2. So it doesn't. I don't think that it makes a whole lot of sense to say that you inherit the licenses of the languages that you're writing software in.
Yeah, certainly I don't think so. No, but like and it's very explicit when you find it. Like I asked Leo, I was like, is it a mixed bag of licensing on the kernel? And Leo looked it up.
Yeah, I assumed before I even looked it up, I was like, well, probably GPL2 and GPL3, right? Like, surely.
Right.
But no.
But yeah, no, it is only GPL v2. And with that, I think I've heard mention, probably from Linus and other interviews and whatnot, that I think he prefers GPL v2 for things. For whatever reason, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just viral enough.
Not 3.
Yeah, it's just viral enough to you can't get anything in the kernel without it being GPL2 compatible at least.
Yeah, it seems like part of the gatekeeping there. Honestly, if you don't have the right license applied to it, it's probably they aren't gonna accept it.
Right. But GPL3, I think, if I understand it correctly,
it's more restrictive.
Which I probably don't. But yeah, like anything directly attached to GPL3 code also has to be GPL3 or GPL3 compliant, something like that. Like it's viral in that way, like is an infectious kind of virality.
Yes, it is more restrictive. So whereas 2 is a little more permissive,
right? And I mean it's done so well. I can't.
It stood the test of time.
Yeah, I can't see where he's wrong. I mean, the kernel has made it into absolutely everything, and the tooling around it has all kinds of weird licenses. No telling what those licenses could possibly be. But you don't have to, right? That's kind of the beauty of it all.
So yeah, that was a bit of a it had us threw us for a loop a little bit and made us think, and we actually went and did some research on it, and so that's what we've come up with is like. Not really. The languages themselves do not have, licensing.
Yeah, and even if they do, they don't transfer, right? Because you're creating something totally new using the language that is licensed.
The code you write now, the code you write is definitely got a license to it that you need to determine as the code writer what license you want to apply to it.
And I think a lot of people end up choosing things like Apache and MIT. And then realizing, oh God, no, now I can't do anything with it. I mean, you can do whatever you want to with it, but so can everybody else.
Yeah, everybody else.
As in, commercial wise, like
even monetarily, right? Yes, exactly.
Oh, poor Redis. I forgot what the original license they licensed under.
They've gone back, I think now.
Right? Yeah, that was the whole thing, right? Like Redis chose a very, very permissive license. Amazon seized on that. Started using Redis internally. Redis was like, no, not like that. Even though they explicitly with their licensing said yes, like that.
And then they wrote their own license.
Right. Then everybody fleed. Everybody there was one last good fork of Redis. People took that and ran with it, and then everybody else went to the fork. And now Redis is like, oh no, everybody left. Let's go back. Go back.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
It doesn't really work like that. You scare the chickens out of the chicken house, the hen house, the whatever. Then they don't.
Yep. The coop.
They don't come back. That's probably not true. Chickens probably go back. But
chickens might go back. But
listen, my metaphor is strained. I need you to come along with me on this one. Okay.
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, I'm with you, buddy.
Good, because I think I lost everybody else. I scared everybody else out of the chicken house.
Yeah, I mean the fox is still in there, so the chickens might not go back.
Whoops! Amazon was the fox, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about the second issue. So just to reiterate, this came from our conversation about Rust is sneaking its way into the kernel, right? And it's going to happen more and more and more. Linus and Greg KH have basically said, if Rust is the solution, Rust is the solution. So the second issue with that from, I'm gonna say EDT Rob. I'm gonna go against your grain there, Dan.
Fine. Yeah, you can.
Could be a Rob. It could be a Rob. Says,
Maybe.
how many CVEs have been found in the kernel and core utilities over almost 30 years? It seems rather secure given the size of the project. I think that's kind of missing the forest for the weeds there. I think the sentiment of this is that there were issues. They were found. They were fixed, right? And that's been chugging along for 30 years. And that in and of itself is security, especially when you look at how big the kernel actually is. So I turned that comment into...
Yeah. No, there are people watching it very closely and very attentive, kind of leading back to the first topic we had.
Yeah.
That, people are all hands on deck when one of those things probably gets disclosed, in order to get it fixed as quickly as possible, given, the prevalence of the Linux kernel out there.
Yeah.
Right. They understand the gravity that goes along with it.
Exactly. And I think that's a weird kind of point to bring up, because a lot, and I mean a lot, of the security issues that have been found in the C code were memory centric, were these buffer overflows, underruns, all these different kinds of, oops, I yoinked memory from over here that I didn't have access to. And
talking about your fuzzing thing, right? That's disclosed some of those things,
Exactly. And someone else on YouTube, I should have grabbed the quote, said that, just writing in Rust doesn't necessarily make it safe code. And that's very true. That is very true. And yes, C does have guardrails to prevent some of this stuff, but we keep seeing code with these same exact types of problems, memory-centric problems, that Rust just doesn't really allow. And yes, in Rust, you can turn off the guardrails.
You can.
That will prevent you from doing this kind of stuff. But it just seems to me that writing in a language that tells you in the first place, and then when you turn those guardrails off to be able to access the stuff that you're accessing, to then end up in buffer overflow territory, it's like, man, there were signs all the way down that said road ends here, and you kept driving.
Yeah, the warnings were on the screen and you ignored it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a different way to solve that particular problem.
Yeah, and I think it really does probably depend on what you're dealing with and whatnot. So I mean, it's not a be all end all, right? I don't think anybody was ever proposing that the whole thing gets rewritten that way.
I am.
Well, maybe eventually someday, but I mean, not right now. No. I think the approach that they've been taking is very methodical, very cautious, and like those sort of things. It needs to be baby steps, not a sprint. And it needs to be that way. It does. It's too prevalent and too important that there's no room for failure. Back to the CVE thing, I think as many that have been disclosed probably get solved before release because of that methodical, cautious approach to things and the testing that goes on with all of it. I mean, like you see multiple RC, release candidate, every single version of the Linux kernel. And that is so that testing can get done and things do remain safe as much as possible.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So, Rob, I assume EDT Rob. I don't mean
we're just going to rename you Rob now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob. I do not mean for this to come off like this was not adversarial at all.
No.
Your statements, your questions,
they did make us think. Yes,
were extremely thought provoking, and I really enjoyed going down the rabbit hole of like the licensing thing. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that was fun.
If you know more than me,
we'll keep looking, but
it's quite possible. Follow up, because I would love to know where I steered wrong on that. And same that, I mean, that goes for absolutely anybody that is smarter than me, which is again most. Let me know if
I don't
I'm
think
off
I'm
in the
right
weeds
every
here.
time, but
I mean, what? We're batting 300, right? About as good as that
that's
AI?
fine.
Good enough.
That's better than AI. Come on, we're better than AI.
All right, I'm batting 400, baby.
Yep.
We're there. We are there. As long as I'm smarter than AI in most of
that
the
makes me feel better.
situation, I guess, then I guess we're okay. And then I won't be replaced with an AI anytime soon. One of these days, we'll just AI generate this show, right? Oh, no, I hope not.
No, that show was done. I mean, that was Tabs versus Spaces or something, I think.
Oh, that's right. That was an interesting show. But it was
wasn't
all
bad.
handwritten.
I listened.
It was all written by
it
a
was.
human.
No, but it was just spoken by a computer.
As far as we know, it was written by a human.
I think it was. There were links and stuff. I
think the timing was that it was before the first AI model, right?
It really was, yeah, but it was good stuff.
Maybe that guy was working on the AI models and the whole thing.
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, that was a pretty good use case if it was.
Pulled the wool over my eyes, and that's why they're itchy. Well, catch these and other great topics and feedback as they unfold on our Lemmy subreddit news channel on Discord. And for that feedback, that's going to be over on YouTube. We've dug a lot of gold out of YouTube this time.
We did.
Man, because we've gotten a lot of feedback over on the YouTube side. That seems to be where it's all flowing right about now.
Hopefully that's not AI generated.
You know what? 40% of it. 40% of it's probably AI generated.
Gosh,
I mean, it's probably. 40% of the emails telling me how to do tags on a video are definitely at least 40% are AI generated.
Get our SEO up.
But if you want to give us human responses, you can do that over at Lemmy. All of these things, by the way, are linuxuserspace.show/Lemmy. We got a Reddit, we got a Discord, we got a Mastodon, we got a Telegram, we got a Matrix. You can swing over to the Twitch, and you can still find us over on Twitter. I think we got, the Instagram, the Threads, the
Blue Sky. We got Blue Sky.
Oh, the Blue Sky. See, I need to update this. See, we got a template. Yeah, I need to update the template.
I think maybe the other one has it. I don't know, but yeah.
Probably not. I'm bad at
maybe
that.
Not. I don't know.
But maybe. Anyway, so find us over at all of those places. Interact with us. Give us some feedback. Tell me how I'm wrong. Because again,
yes, please.
40%. 40% of the time I'm wrong. 100% of the time.
Anyway, that brings us to some feedback.
Yeah, and one of those feedbacks is, we got a lot of these things, so I'll take one, Dan, you take one, and we're just gonna back and forth it from there, because obviously we don't plan this ahead of time, and we just had to plan that right then. Okay, so, Yuquan wrote, I ran Ubuntu 18.04 from 2018 until 2024. I just kept running it. Never reinstalled it, just switched to ESM, and it never gave me any issues. I didn't install the latest LTS until I changed machines, but this time I will upgrade to the new LTS when it's released. And that reminded me of a conversation that I had in Discord about this whole LTS ESM thing, and I think it was with Bill over on...
We talked about it.
Yes.
We talked about it.
Yeah, over on Linux OTC. So if you haven't checked out that show, I'm on there sometimes.
Well, you prompted Bill to join our Discord, so that was cool.
I did. It took him like 2 years. What a guy.
That's fine. That's okay. It's okay.
What a guy.
He's a busy guy. That's fine.
I get it. It is true. He's busy AI generating Linux OTC.
Well... He's got a day job too, okay?
But that sparked a conversation about what the cadence is and how you go about that. And I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about what I ended up deciding after that particular episode. So, okay.
Right.
So about and another thing, Dan, we got it wrong. ESM doesn't stand for any of the things that we said it stood for.
Well, it's Ubuntu Pro now, so
they still
the name
reference
is legacy.
They still reference it as ESM in quite a lot of their documentation. So I think Ubuntu Pro is like the customer-facing name, and then ESM.
It's an easier name, I can tell you that.
Right. So it's not extended. Hold on, I still can't remember what it is because
correct me.
Expanded.
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 Never would have guessed that word.
Security maintenance.
I think I knew some of that. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm pretty sure I said about 3 different things. I said like extended server maintenance. I think I also said service maintenance. I'm pretty sure you said security maintenance. I'm almost 90% sure
might have
security maintenance, but I think we both said extended at some point.
Yeah, and so it's expanded.
It's expanded. Okay, here's the thing.
Which makes sense because it's for the current LTS as well.
Right. So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. It was called extended security maintenance before.
Okay, so I wasn't all wild with that. That's cool.
Okay, so as I was editing the video, I went to go look it up because I needed to find a webpage to scroll in front of our faces as we were talking about something. And then I stumbled upon it. I'm like, oh my God, we never even said once expanded. And so like on the video, it says like expanded, we're terrible. So it has that.
Yeah, because we're terrible.
It's there. But anyway.
See, 40%.
So, exactly. 40% of the time, we're right 100% of the time. So expanded security maintenance, I have not pulled the trigger on that yet. I have not signed up for Ubuntu Pro.
So you didn't do that?
Not yet. And the reason, the thing that pushed me over the edge on this was that after the upgrade, I did do the 2004 to 2204 upgrade.
Okay. Well, at least you got that part down.
Which, without a hitch, beautiful. Nice. It took 10 minutes. Everything was good.
That's good.
It did
That's good.
Snap shenanigans because I'm running Nextcloud in the Snap, which is the best way to run that, by the way. And then Plex in a repo. And here's the thing that was surprising to me: the Plex repo didn't disable.
Okay.
And I think it's because the Plex repo itself doesn't reference a specific version of Ubuntu.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Right. It didn't say focal, so it didn't need to be updated to jammy.
Yeah, right. So it didn't need to say, hey, go check your repositories, your third-party repositories.
It was basically just like plex/repo/deb.
Yeah.
So it works for all the deb things, I suppose.
Makes sense.
Because of that, I literally had to do nothing other than unplug my monitor after it was all done. So
wow.
Super stoked about that.
That's good stuff.
So now I can kick the can of ESM down the road for 2 more years.
I suppose. I mean, like I said, it does apply to the current LTSs as well.
Right.
Which is why they've renamed it Expanded, of course.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. So, I mean, you'll still get some other security updates too, potentially. And obviously you get some other benefits like live patch and whatnot too. So
right.
In a way it can help you, but obviously not required. So, I mean, you may want to think about it anyway.
Well, I will, because the thing that kind of said, okay, I can kick this can is there's a line on there that says when you're not on Ubuntu Pro, it tells you, hey, if you were on Ubuntu Pro, we could update. And it was only 3 packages. And
right.
I didn't look. I probably should have looked.
I'll guarantee one of them's FFmpeg.
Oh, okay. Well,
I could be wrong, but I mean that's a popular one.
Well, I do. There's transcoding happening on Plex,
so you may want it.
I would bet that's an FFmpeg thing. So okay,
yeah,
I'll
probably
dig in. I'll come back next episode and I'll give an update.
No, I don't know what the security patch that's applied that's one of the things.
But I like security.
It may not impact you. It may not, right? You got to weigh those things for yourself, I suppose. But
exactly. But it's free. I get 5 of them. I only need like 2. So yeah, I'll probably end up doing it anyway. But I didn't at the moment, and I'm not going to 2404. That's the other conclusion that I came to. I'm not going to 2404 right off the bat. We talked about that a little bit.
I'd let it perk.
Now the decision that I made was, how long do you let that percolate? And
that's up to you. Yeah.
And here's my answer. My answer is when the next LTS comes out. So I will upgrade to 2404 when 2604 comes out. I will, at least on this server, I will never be on the latest LTS.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and that's fair. I think there's some other things that, I mean, it depends. Yours is a server, so obviously less dependent, but sometimes it could be beneficial to get the hardware enablement stuff. You know what I mean? So you don't want to get too far behind in order to actually get some realization on that, right? Because basically you want to be on the latest LTS to get those things, because that's going to get you like the interim release kernel versions on the latest LTS. So if that's important to you, you may want to do that sooner. But for your case, it's pretty stagnant, and it probably just worked just fine because your hardware's not changing or any of that stuff.
And most of this hardware was minted before 2020, so I was already on the release that likely had all the enablement that I needed. And 2204, it may have. I haven't really tested performance or anything like that. I don't know that anything. It's not worse, so that's good.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not that much different. Really, honestly. Yeah.
No. So it's been a good experience. I'll probably end up jumping on the ESM eventually, but for now, that's going to be it. Stay one LTS behind. That means everything that I might want to run additionally or whatever I'm running now will be fully tested. I mean, 2 years, right? Like, surely it's tested enough for that.
It'll have some patches. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Yuquan, for writing that in. It sparked that conversation, and I really, really appreciate it. And it's good to hear that you're on the ESM as well. And I don't suppose it would give you any issues. This is the kind of support that people pay for. So
exactly,
it better be
should
good.
Be solid. Yeah, right.
All right, I'm going to give you this username. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. I see what you did there. I see why you want to go back and forth on that.
I get Fred. You get this.
I'm just going to spell it out because it does not translate to something you can pronounce. So JLILJJ.
That's Jillage. Jillilj.
I'm just going to call you JJ.
Okay. Hey, Jay, that's good.
Sorry if that's... I'm sorry. So JJ writes, I'd go for the upgrade. Good way to stay current and learn.
Yep.
And so that's what you did. So that was a good approach.
That's exactly what I did. I'm curious though. Do you run any Ubuntu servers, and have you upgraded them to feel the fear that I have felt? That's the real question. So let me know.
Me?
Anybody that would like to answer the question, as a matter of fact. Do you feel
I'd love
the fear?
to hear from everybody else too, because I've done it multiple times, many times.
So there's just like no twinge of fear whatsoever when you're running these upgrades? None at all?
Not really, no.
Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, the way that this past upgrade went, I don't have a reason for the fear anymore. It is all unfounded. Well, not unfounded. It's just, it was founded in the Windows world. And I carried it over to the Linux world.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, not fair to Linux, because I don't think, I cannot recall.
Well, I mean, there was a time when it might have been a thing. It might have been a problem. You might have encountered it. But I mean, I feel like the other thing to me is I have enough backup strategies and things in place. True. That, like, if it did go wrong, I could roll back pretty easily, quickly.
Okay.
I try to have those, even if it's just like a VM snapshot or something like that. So backups, but snapshots, and like I got multiple layers here.
All right, so upgrades in a VM, totally get. Snapshots, those are easy. You can back up the entire VM with almost a drag and drop, basically.
Right.
What about your bare metal servers? What is your rollback strategy for that?
So I would definitely have all of the application data, whether that's a database or something like that, backed up. And I've done that. Like, so I've had like a Unify and stuff like that, and I've upgraded those. But that's an easy one, right? You just take a database dump, and you can actually download that right through the GUI on the web interface, and you've got that. And if you had to rebuild it, so be it. And I've done that with like OpenSense before. So
OpenSense is cheating. They just give you a config file.
They give you a config file. But basically, that's all you get out of Unify. But there's a bunch of things that are like that, and so I'll do that on those machines.
Right.
And I guess other machines, database dumps are easy, ish, and you can actually look at the contents of them. And not only, obviously you want to be able to restore it, right? I mean, and if you don't test that, then that's not great. But things that you could look at the contents of and see, what they are, and if it's sane, before you go too far, I will do that.
Yeah.
And if it's really hairy and I just don't know all the tentacles and where things are, I would go rescue Zilla and just
do the whole thing,
clone the whole darn thing,
yeah,
including the partition,
yeah,
all the partitions. And if I'm really, really paranoid, I would do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's
I got
pretty
some
much
layers
what I thought.
there. Yeah.
Pretty much what I thought. Okay, that makes sense. But it gets kind of hairy because there can be so many little things.
Even if you have all of that stuff, what you have to ask yourself is, what is my recovery time that I need to meet for this thing? And so all of it, if you're restoring from a backup, takes time. So how important is it to you? And can you spend the time now trying to restore your thing?
Oh, yeah. So my
you
uptime,
have to evaluate that going beforehand. Right.
My uptime is the 5 nines. As a matter of fact, I maintain.
That's
5 9. No, hold on. No, don't give me credit yet. I maintain 5 nines in my network, and that is anybody asks me, "Is it up?" I say 9, and then they ask me again, "Is it up yet?" 9, and then once you get to the 5th 9, they realize it's never coming back up, man. That's it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not there anymore.
9. It's the only German I know.
Yeah.
Just enough to tell you that it's down.
Yeah. So essentially, I always ask myself going into the process, do I have time to deal with that right now?
Right.
Because I might not.
See,
right?
you do the 5 9s as well. Is it up yet?
Yep.
9.
Nope.
So Fred's Tech 1 asked us, do we use unattended upgrades? Are there any pros and cons with it? And I think on all of my servers, I use unattended upgrades, whether I like it or not. Security-wise, I think
they come by default.
Okay, yeah.
At least in Ubuntu.
Yeah. So for security patches, yeah, and I don't have a good reason to not do that. And I've never run into any kind of SSH doesn't work now because we patched it and now it just doesn't work. So I've never ever seen.
I've had
one
some
of those
rare moments at work with things, just not like you got to wait for the next update sometimes to come out to fix the problem that got rolled out a little too soon.
I see,
but it's rare, and obviously rolling back wasn't a big deal on some stuff. I mean, but usually those are. You go to Reddit or someplace like that, and the place is, a buzz about it. And so everybody's got a solution for you by the time you get there. So
yeah.
It's really rare.
Does Ubuntu, I mean, could you just grab the deb of the previous version off of the repo or something? Are those available to you to do that with?
Sometimes they're still available in the archive, and you can tell it to install that previous version sometimes.
Okay, so it's not too. I mean, it sucks that there's
and especially
an issue.
So if it's still cached on your machine, you can reinstall it, right?
Okay, yeah. Oh, right, yeah, exactly, and it likely would be as long as you're not doing the auto remove all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that.
It's rare though. Yeah.
Yeah, Fred, use it. I've not had any problems with it. And Dan had a couple of problems with it, but it seems easy enough to roll back. So
most of those weren't security updates, by the way, either. So we
so
go as
you
far
took
as
the
to turn
whole
on.
thing.
We go as far as to turn on all the updates, typically on our work machines, just so that we're catching the new latest hotness, I guess.
Wow. Okay. So you're riding the lightning as far as an Ubuntu goes.
Yeah. As far as an LTS can go, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's not lightning. It's more of a
yeah.
It's like toothpaste coming out of the tube. That's the
Right.
lightning that you're getting from the LTS.
Yeah, it's not a fire hose.
No. All right. See, and you got another one.
Yep. Silj Wrath. So SILJRATH. So I think Silj Wrath. They say, I thought I signed up. Anyone know when Thundermail happens?
Oh, you hurt me.
So
you hurt me in the heart.
It's painful because Leo and I both signed up as well. And
Yeah.
have heard absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And so all the hype and then not a thing. I think it's something we need to go check on. Honestly, Leo, in between shows here.
With all of the might of our Mastodon account, what I will do is when this episode releases, if we haven't heard anything between now and then I will ping the Thunderbird account and see if. I mean, I suppose they would post it in the blog post, but maybe they can bird me a little baby bird. Give me a little.
Yeah, maybe there's some updates that we just don't know about, and so I'd love to go check on it. Yeah,
for sure. So nothing yet, but I'll check for us.
Sounded so good.
I know. Conan Kudo, that's our friend Neil, wrote, this is about the Fedora installer experience that it used to, he says, in my experience, people who are less familiar with system installations don't have problems with Anaconda's hub and spoke model. Thank you so much for proving my point. That's exactly what I was getting at. I mean, it is the curse of Windows wizards that has taught us to be allergic to anything that isn't next. And it pains me. It's so sad. I love Anaconda. I loved Anaconda years and years ago when I was messing around with like the early, it was like Fedora Core 5 or something that I was using in school. And it was so cool. I thought it was great because like you you fix the thing and you come back and you kind of see what you need to do still. Like stuff that you have to do is in red. Things that you haven't configured are kind of grayed out or whatever, but are optional. Like it just made so much sense to me. But I don't know. I was inoculated, I guess, somehow.
Yeah.
To the wizard. I don't like it. But
I think there was room for improvement, although they threw the baby out with the bathwater and started all over again.
That's what's so sad about it.
That's where we're at.
You could have improved it. It could have been better with those little sore spots, but no, it wasn't.
But the new one is nice. I will say I didn't dislike it. I think it's okay.
No, it's fine. It behaves like all the other ones. There's absolutely nothing unique about it. It is
that's not true. That's not true. It is a little unique. But it does guide you through a little faster.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it was a lot faster, I think, next and through.
Amanita. I said that right?
I think so. If we're aiming for the fungus, the mushrooms, whatever.
The mushrooms.
Then, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I think I said that username right. From Patreon.
Sure. Yeah.
Backports are always incomplete. The distro people are not developers of every software they ship. Impossible. So if you can, always use the latest software. LTS projects like Linux Long-Term, Firefox ESR, or Thunderbird ESR are an exception.
Yeah. I think I will tell on a server. I will always use an LTS, but I will always avoid Firefox ESR, Thunderbird ESR. There's just too much cool stuff happening in those two areas that I want to be able to have. This is not saying that like in an enterprise situation where you literally do not want things to change that you shouldn't use those. Obviously, those are great places for those kinds of deployments. But for me, oh man, give me. I don't want nightly, but you give me those features as they're ready. Oh, give them to me. Like Thunderbird features can't come fast enough. Let me. To the veins. Let me have it. But I agree with you. I do agree with you. The backports, they don't carry everything.
They are great. Yeah, but I mean, I will say like things like in Ubuntu, if it's in the main repository, that's getting some attention. And there are paid people to look at those things. And they are getting security patches. Like anything in main on Ubuntu, that's getting some, security attention to it. And I would feel comfortable with those things. They may not be getting the new features, but like you said, the ESR stuff is obviously not getting new features either. That's just getting It's just getting the security stuff there too. So
Yeah.
those are some examples of where I'd feel comfortable with not having the new latest thing, and having a good stable experience and still getting the security patches. So by that, I mean, if you look at like the version numbers, don't be scared. If the major version number in the string hasn't changed, look at the last bits, so you can see how many builds or how many period. If there's a period and then a number, that'll tell you that it's had a security update, at least in Ubuntu or Debian or whatever.
Right.
So look for those things, and that means something that happened in a newer version has probably gotten cherry picked and placed inside of the old version to address some security concern.
That's pretty cool.
So don't be afraid. Yeah.
And well, I'll still be afraid of upgrading, and I don't know why. I mean, one day I'll be cool with it, but still. Now, Redvamp 128 wrote, you guys should probably do an episode on the history of Puppy Linux. Now, apparently, Puppy is long puppy. Puppy is old, right?
It's been around a long time. Yes, it is not. Yeah, there's other distros, we'll call them.
2003.
That have been produced by the same person.
Yeah. And there have been so many different kinds, right? Like,
yes.
Okay, so initially released version 0.1 was released on June 19th of 2003. That's 21 years ago. Puppy's been around for more than 20 years.
That's hanging on. Yeah.
Wow, man. And it uses JWM or IceWM for its default interface. Interesting. So and this is if I'm not mistaken, Puppy's the one that's meant to be run live, right?
It's one of the live options. Yes.
Or no, or is it just it's super slim? Is that it?
It's super slim, so I mean, I guess netbooks and older systems are kind of the target there too. So your potatoes, drag them out and put the Puppy on, I suppose. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so initially based on Vector Linux, but then became a fully independent distribution. So I wonder if it's not still, or at least not all of them, right? Because look at these. The latest release is Fossapup, Noblepup, Bookworm Pup, and 64 and 32. And so those aren't independent. Those have to be based on Ubuntu and Debian, right?
Yeah, they are. And obviously 64-bit and 32-bit options there too. And, clearly based on LTS things and Debian things. So this is what people hang around.
Right. So this is what people are supposed to be using when they're like, well, I don't want bloat. Well, you want Puppy. Or you want to build it yourself in Gentoo.
Sure.
Cool.
There's other options too, but I mean, yes, this is a good option.
All right. Well, Red Vamp, I'm gonna add it to the list. I'm gonna see what kind of history I can dig up on something like that, and if it looks like I can do a full one, then
I think there's enough there for a history.
Well, 20 years worth.
It might be a lot of history, honestly. So I think we're going to hang on to that, maybe potentially for next season.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And for a lot of these, I've always wanted to reach out to people to do that. So, but it's always just been a matter of time. I don't want to leave people hanging forever, because I'm busy off doing something else or whatever. Can't focus on it. So it's always been a bit of a respect kind of thing, right? Like, I don't want to waste your time. So,
no,
anyway.
I think it's unique enough, and it's probably got enough history there. I think we could try to squeeze it in, I think.
All right. Okay.
You heard it here.
Oh boy. Already taking up time next year. Wait, no, next season. Not next year, which will be this year. Next season will be this year. Sometime. Probably. Okay.
With a little break.
That's right. So, all of this stuff, all of the links, all of the things we're talking about, all of the comments, all of the people that have sent stuff in over at linuxuserspace.show. You can find this current episode. It'll be the very first one, or you can do linuxuserspace.show/513, and you can find all the links that we've got right over there. You can also, if you don't like leaving feedback on the YouTubes, in the Telegrams, in the Discord, in the Lemmy, in the, one of the
Whatever.
7 gajillion places we have for you to drop feedback. You can also email us over at contact@linuxuserspace.show. So fire up Thunderbird or Gmail or Yahoo Mail or AOL Mail, because everybody loves AOL Mail, and send us a email at contact@linuxuserspace.show, and we'll get you on the show. Talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
So that brings us to the next time, Leo, and I know you hinted on this earlier in the show.
Did.
We're obviously going to talk about our adventures here with Flatpak and Snap, and we're going to take some evaluation on how big things are getting.
Yes.
How much bloat is there?
Oh God! I'm still not convinced. These applications are not tiny, but I don't think even if you install them in the deb, they would be much smaller. So
yeah,
grain of salt here. But I did wanna kind of let everybody know these are the applications that I'm gonna be running on Ubuntu 25.04 and on Fedora 42 for the rest of the duration. And it may end up, because I'm enjoying myself now, as I do with all of this stuff. This may run into season 6, episode 1, just so we can check back.
It might, yeah.
Because
I'm not ruling it out.
Is 4 weeks long enough to know? I don't know. Maybe we'll add a few months onto it.
Feel like enough at the time, but I mean, yeah, it's enough time in a way.
So we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. But so I've got OBS Studio, Discord, Telegram, Element, Kdenlive, GIMP, Inkscape, Firefox, and Brave. Those are going to be my core applications that I'm going to keep on these machines for the duration of this thing. I've got them running in isolation. They're running in a VM, but I am making it a point to not log in. They're going to stay logged in forever. So the snaps can just auto do their thing. Yeah. But I'm making it a point to go in and click around and use these applications, at least to load up images or do whatever.
Right.
That shouldn't change the size of the binaries or the packages.
It's not supposed to. That's supposed to get stored somewhere else. So
right. But I don't want it just sitting there doing nothing. So I'm going to poke at these things.
But you want to make sure it is actually the updated versions and whatnot. They're getting updated and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. So now I'm going to give you an actual excuse to go to linuxuserspace.show/513. And that is, I've got 3, and I think it's going to be 4 by the time I'm done with this, because I need to add a Flatpak one of these. And anyway, I have a few commands that you need to run to figure out how big your Flatpaks actually are. None of this guesswork anymore. None of this, it feels like blow. Nah, shut it. Go look. And you can see exactly how big these things are. Go install LibreOffice. It's still a big mamma jamma in a Flatpak, just as it is in the dev. Gigs, man. It's huge.
It's not the biggest, though.
I know. What was Dave said FreeCAD was 1.2 gigs?
Yeah, he had FreeCAD. Yeah, that was pretty good size.
You've got GPT for all. Now, hold on.
I was testing it out for science, okay, folks?
Right. That was where all of what he talked about came from today. But I'll give it to you only because it's huge and I like that. But there's a model in there, right? There's one of those quantized models built into that. That's where the size is coming from.
I think it might actually have a couple. I don't know. Yeah.
How big was it?
That's like 2.3 gig.
Whoo! So some of these can get big. But I like the ability to go in.
Of them, most of them, they're 500 meg-ish or less.
Yeah, well, I was playing around with LLM Studio the other day, and some of those are like 12 gigs. I mean, and they can get bigger, obviously. I just wanted,
those things can get big, yeah.
I got the model that would fit into my RAM. Like, that's the actual ceiling. You have to be able to put it in RAM. They can only be so big.
I just meant most applications that I have installed are, in the 500 is like big. Like most of them are a lot less than that. So.
Oh yeah, most of them are. Yeah, for sure. So like Kdenlive is only 240 megs. I would expect that to be a lot bigger, but
Yeah, that's not big at all.
Yeah, really.
For what it does.
Telegram, the chat app is that big. What is Telegram doing?
There's a lot of visual assets, I guess, to go with it.
These are flat packs, by the way. I'm not looking at the snaps. I do see the snaps. Yeah, there's a lot of core. I'd have to dig through it, but anyway, some of these can be kind of big. But anyway, and Bruno's got paperwork. I don't even know what that app is, but it's 1.2 gigs. Woo.
That's a chunky bugger.
It is. It's chunky. Anyway, so I have the commands that you can use to figure out how big these things are. It's a flat pack list app, but it's got options, and reading it out just sounds terrible. So flat pack list, and then go check out the options at the website, linuxuserspace.show/513. Scroll down to the bottom. They'll be there. And then there's also, there'll also be a couple of DU commands to give you the snaps stuff. So Snap doesn't have a command to do this, which is sad.
Well, not that we found.
I would expect that out of Snap and not out of Flat. Weird. We're living in topsy-turvy world out here. But I'll have a DU command for the flat packs as well. Just so you can see. And the DU commands are what I'm going to be using to check every night. I'm going to check the size every night, write it to a log, and then do it every single day. So as I get that script written out, I'll stick it somewhere. Maybe I'll just put it on the next episode or something like that, or maybe come back and add it back here so you can just copy paste it to a little text file and run that script over and over again.
Yeah, we can, drop it in the Discord and Telegram places too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, that's an option as well.
So yeah, go find us, and we'll give you all that you need to be able to figure this stuff out too.
So anyway, that's next time we're gonna check in on Nat. Hopefully we've got some other topics and some things to, feedback that we can talk about as well. But in between shows, please reach out, catch us in the places, Twitter, Mastodon, Telegram, Matrix, Discord, Blue Sky, all that stuff.
But we also have to say, next episode
is the season finale.
Yeah, it sure is. So we're going to end on this little journey. But as I mentioned before, I think we might pick back up on this journey as well.
We may pick it back up in the next season, yeah. Or at least for the initial episode, maybe. Just to see how it went during the break.
I just want to prove the bloat people wrong, and I'm going to have numbers to back it up.
So far, we're doing great. Yeah, it's going in our favor.
That's right.
At least so far.
Yep.
But we'll keep checking in on it and, give some more feedback. We'll keep consulting the Oracle and all of the, documentation and whatnot so that we don't misspeak too much. We'll at least get it right 40% of the time.
Yeah, 40. See, that's the number.
Anyway, you can catch us in all the places, but please give us your feedback, and all of the links in the show notes are on linuxuserspace.show. So, Leo, where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at leochavez@mastodon.social and at leochavez.org. My website, the DNS magic
on the blue
over
sky,
on the blue sky. So, no?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. Oh, no. Okay. All right. It's going to be a break thing. I feel it in my bones. It's a break thing.
I still am paralyzed with decision on trying to figure out what domain do I attach this to.
Please.
And do I get a new one?
I don't want. I would love your feedback for any topic whatsoever. But if you can't think of feedback to send, what I need you to do is I need you to send Dan awesome URLs, like domains to buy, to use as his handle on Blue Sky. Please.
Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless, and that's why I'm paralyzed with it.
Okay, all right. I'll help. We will help.
So, anyway, in the meantime, you can catch me at KC2BeEasy at Mastodon.social, and you can also catch me Monetary Abyss at BlueSky.app. And you can always catch the show itself at linuxuserspace.show, and that'll get you over on the Blue Sky. So that's pretty neat. Anyway, come back in 2 weeks and we'll have our season finale episode of
Woo!
Linux User Space.
Can't believe it's over.
Yep. Bye, y'all.
See you later. Okay, so here's I got it in the notes. I'll put it in the patron user space too, just in case. Oh, actually, H is just muscle memory. What is S? I mean,
I don't know what S does, but I know H is human readable.
Summarize. Display only a total for each argument.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Does that change what the output is on this one? So with it doesn't. Weird muscle memory, man. All right. So.
S definitely changes the output.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. Okay, so what I'm about to write in the notes, I don't see a difference between S and no S. But you have to do the wild card there at the end, or it'll just give you snaps.
Oh, for snaps. I don't know about snaps. It definitely does for Flatpaks. S is the right answer. That's the one you want.
Really? So what does this look like without? Oh, God.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, because I wasn't looking in a directory. I was... Okay, so...
Because you're at the top of the top level, if you will.
Yeah.
Or one of the upper levels.
Okay, I understand. Because these are like little containers. Oh, because these are files.
They are, yeah.
The .snap is a file. It's like an executable file. It's all built in.
The .snap is actually it's like an ISO file.
I see. So with the S, you only get the
summary.
Okay, so you don't need the S for the snaps because those are all individual files. There's the other one. Freak 1.2 gigs. Oh wow, GPT. Oh yeah, but that's got a model inside of it, doesn't it? Then.
Yeah, it does.
The GPT for all. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
It's huge though.
Oh, I believe it.